Today's guest was recently featured in Forbes Magazine as one of 9 CMOs to watch. He's an author of a book called Getting to Today's Insights Are Tomorrow's Facts. He's the founder of iresearch.com and connectquick.com. Welcome to the show, Darshan. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Toby. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Mirror Talk. I really appreciate your presence here and you creating time all the way from Thailand to to meet with me virtually for this conversation. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to learning so much from you today, from your more than 25 years of branding, marketing, and technology experience. That's like a lot to unpack in this episode. So I'm really expecting to consume or get a lot from you today. So let's just start. Like, how did it all start? What inspired you to go into this career and life direction?
Sure. I realized when I was in college, the things I really liked was case studies. I like solving problems. I realized I don't mind problems. I just love solutions. And so when I got out of college, I started working in consulting. And I also liked, the aspects of psychology, consumer behavior. And so that gravitated me towards more branding and advertising and market research consulting. And so that's what I've done for many years, is helping clients gain insights to basically improve their products, services, and to become more successful. And so I was one of the earlier ones in 1998 timeframe to start doing online research. And part of it is because I'm Indian. I was born in India, and I've been accused of having the extra Indian gene for technology. So I always kind of gravitated towards something a little bit tech if I could. And so, to be honest with you, I had no idea what online research would be like, because at that point I'd come from the world of doing phone surveys, paper surveys, in-person focus groups. And so it was really just an experiment to see what would happen. And I found very quickly that, things are definitely going to go this way, because it was easier, faster, and in many cases, a lot less costly. And so things were definitely going to go that way. And so I started developing tools and using them internally for my clients. And then I realized that this is a powerful tool, and that I would actually like to make it available to other people to use it on their own and to really empower them so that they can get insights on their own. Because I just truly believe, having done this for quite a few years, after a while, you kind of see patterns, you see things kind of repeat themselves. And the one thing I've seen is that there's basically insights all around us, and we just need to tap into them. And the best way to tap into them is to really have conversations. Conversations you've had so many conversations with guests, and I'm sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you learn a lot each time, and you just gain a broader perspective, and you do gain insights, and you just get a better understanding. What I'd say, you kind of tap into the jet stream of society.
Yes.
You kind of get a plug of kind of what things are doing, how people are thinking and feeling. And that's really valuable information and insights that can really help differentiate a company, but also help a company to innovate. And as you know, in business, if you stagnate, you're not going to be around for that long, because whether you innovate or not, innovation is going to happen.
Yes, that's true.
And so your choice is do you want to be part of the innovation? Even if it ends up basically cannibalizing your existing business, I would argue you're better off being your own competitor that does the cannibalization than having it been done to you. Because, one of the things we often try to do as humans, we try to control our environment, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I've just learned there's certain rules of the universe you don't mess with. And one of the rules I've kind of seen and observed is that the more control you try to exert, the less control you end up with in the end.
Yeah. Life has its way of, taking its own course.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
And so, instead of trying to control, and of course you should concentrate on the things you control. Like, I can't control competitors, nor can you, right?
No.
But I can control what I put out or what I innovate.
Yes.
That's something I can control.
That's true.
And then I can also control how that might maybe replace the product I'm already doing or selling.
Yes. I really love the fact that your passion is to empower people and also to create this um, platform where people can have insights to things that could make them change with this constantly changing world. Also, like creating marketing strategies for businesses to be successful, for startups to become successful also. And this is why I'm so excited to talk about your new book that is out already. Drawing from more than 20 years of marketing strategies and research experiences, you authored this book titled Getting to Aha, like, this realization moment, today's insights are tomorrow's facts. And that is very true. And I find that very, very interesting. So I would love you to, tell me more about this book. What inspired you to write the book?
Sure. If you really think about the world we look around us, right? We take it as if this is a fact. I mean, let's just take the phone, the smartphone, for example, right?
Yes.
It's become a part of our life. I mean, it's an invaluable thing that we all use. In fact, I would argue the phone is probably closer to you 24/7 more than your significant other.
that's certainly true. Yeah, that's certainly true.
But it wasn't that long ago. We didn't have smartphones, but someone had this insight that it's a combination of things, right?
Yeah.
And let's just take a side step for a second. I think we should talk about what are insights, because I think sometimes people confuse them. Insights are not just facts or observations. They're that plus more, right? It's the combination of what's happening in society and technology, and all of that coming together. And that's an insight. I'll give you an example. I think people who do really good insights are comedians, right? When you've seen a really good comedian, you say, oh my God, I never thought of it that way, but it's so true and it's so funny.
Yes.
That's an insight, right? Because it's something you haven't articulated or put it all together. But when they put it all together, give you an example and you say, I never thought of it that way, because you actually knew it in the back of your head, but it wasn't articulated until that person did it for you. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, it just comes together. That's an insight.
Insight. Yes. Yes. And why do we say today's insights are tomorrow's, facts?
Well, because if you have a really good insight and you innovate, eventually it may become a fact and it might be just become a part of life. But if you have that early inner insight, just think you have an advantage with your competitors to be that much further ahead.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. And how do we, source for this insight? Like now we're in today, we're in the moment, we're in the present. How can I get, the right insights so that I could be successful tomorrow? So I could have the right facts for tomorrow.
Well, one of the ways is you just have to ask more questions, right? And it's not just questions and talking, it's also listening. You really have to listen to what customers are saying and thinking. What you're really trying to do is you're trying to tap into their subconscious, because you want to know what are the motivators, what are the triggers, and they're always out there. And I think one of the things I talk about in my book is that people are no longer buying products. They're buying experiences. And the experience starts from the very time you learn about a product to when you're searching about it. And also when you actually then buy it and then actually post-purchase, right? And part of that experience is what we're reading in reviews or, testimonials and things from other people. And now, nowadays on the internet with the power of digital, you don't have a choice. I mean, one way or another, your customers are going to talk about your product.
That's true. Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Your choice is not whether do you want them to talking about it or do you want to talk to them. Your choice is really simple. Do you want to listen sooner or later? But either way, they're going to talk to you.
Yes. Yes.
And I would advocate talk sooner so that you can actually get into what motivates them, what triggers them. And there's always opportunity to differentiate.
That's true. And once you can, get that insight, you get to, you get the realization, you get that, eye-opening fact and, insight, I would say. Yeah.
It's kind of like using the analogy in hockey, right?
Yes.
Are you going to win hockey by going where the puck is or going where the puck is headed?
Yeah, that's true. You go where the puck is headed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the thing with insights. I mean, they're just out there. It's just a matter, it's really basically putting things together and saying, aha, this is where things are headed.
Yes.
And I can be ahead of that, or I can lead that, or I can be a part of that.
That's true. And I guess this is how, companies like, startups and existing business or succeed also, right? Or are there like other ways that insight helps them to, become
Sure. I mean, insights can make many companies very successful. But part of it is having the mindset to want to seek insights, right? Being curious. And if you really think about it, what is research?
Yeah. It's
In
finding
its
out.
simplest form, go ahead, what is research?
Yeah, I want to say just like looking out for information, like insight, also like searching out for fact that you don't know about before. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say even simpler than that. Research is structured curiosity,
Wow. Yes.
right? I
Yes.
mean, what you really want to be is you want to be curious. You want to learn. You want to actually get into the minds of your customers and find out what really makes them tick. What's going to make their life easier, simpler, or less expensive?
Yes.
And that brings me to an insight I've kind of discovered by working with a lot of clients is that, I'm looking saying, what is it that can make businesses successful? And I've kind of narrowed it down to three things plus a one. And those three things are essentially, if you can save people time, money, or make something easier, your chance of being successful are quite good. So if you can do one, I'd say your chances are 1x. If you can do two, it might be 2x. If you can do three, I think it's 3x. But this is where the plus one comes in. And that is if you can evoke an emotion. Now, I don't know. I mean, it could be 6x, 10x, 12x. I don't know. Because it depends on the emotion.
Yes.
Right.
And that emotion is like, creating a relationship with the product.
Exactly. It's understanding that key benefit. And if you want a perfect example of that, I think, let's go back to the iPod release. Steve Jobs.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that presentation, but he noticed that there was trends in technology where the price of hard drives were coming down and becoming smaller. And he also realized there was a big frustration out there with MP3 players. People really couldn't take all their music with them. And I remember trying to say, hey, can I take my entire CD collection? There's no way, right? So I'll take maybe 5 or 6, and then you have to change them and stuff. And it wasn't a good experience, right?
Yes.
And so he recognized this, combining technology, the frustration, and say, how can I come up with a solution? And then he conveyed the benefit, if you remember in the presentation, in a way that was just, brilliant.
Yeah.
He said, now you can take 1,000 songs in your pocket. It's like, what? 1,000 songs? Are you kidding me? That's amazing. I don't even have 1,000 songs, right?
Yeah, that was mind blowing back then. Yeah.
Yeah. But not only that, they had that flywheel, right?
Yes.
So that was just really cool, right?
Yeah.
So it was like two emotions, right? It was one, that's amazing. I can take 1,000 songs, but now this is really cool flywheel. So I just like playing with it and using it. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's a product that saved time. It saved money. It made it easier, but it also evoked an emotion.
That's true.
And look what it did. It basically turned around Apple's trajectory big time.
That's true.
And then that, of course, led to the iPhone.
Yes, exactly. And that make them, who they are today, the giants, the tech giant they are today. Yeah.
Yes. And so, I mean, but there's things like that, all throughout in business where companies have gotten insights. I mean, there's been entrenched players in various businesses that didn't really think about it. Next thing you know, and a startup comes around and they've totally changed the entire industry and dynamic, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yes. I mean, it's going to be so wonderful for everyone to, pick a copy of your book to read it. Well, can you tell us, like, who is it written for? Is it written for only business owners or entrepreneurs, or is it written for everybody, anybody?
I think it's written for people who really want to I think, understand that there's power in insights, right? And it's for people who really want to make a difference for their business or even their personal lives. I mean, insights can be personal too, right? True. They don't have to be just all about business. But I think it's just kind of having that mindset shift can make a big difference. And I think one can just really enjoy life even more as well, not just in business, but in personal. It's a bit philosophical, but it's also, it's mainly geared to try to help you understand, how you can gain insights, but also how it can help you with branding and being successful in business and with your product and service.
Yeah. And where's the best place to get a copy of it?
It's on Amazon. So if you just go to Amazon and get into AHA, it's on Amazon available.
Yes. So I just want to tell everyone that the link will be available in the show notes of this episode. So you can just copy the Amazon link or go to Darshan's website also and just get the link to buy the book, order the book. And, it's for everyone who is interested in getting insights into life, into creating business and become successful in whatever endeavor one is into in life, actually. Yeah.
And in fact, I kind of put my insights to use, and that's what led me to do my mobile app, Connect Quick,
Yes.
which is what I released recently. And that's a Connect with a QIK. And that came out of a frustration I've had. Like when I go to conferences, right?
Yeah.
And I meet and I leave a conference with 30, 40 cards. And it's like, what am I going to do with that? And they end up putting a rubber band around them and they sit in my desk, right?
Yes.
I never get around to typing or scanning them because it's just too cumbersome. So I said, there's got to be a better way to do this with the digital world that we live in now.
Yeah.
So basically with Connect Quick, you can create your own personal QR code with your own picture. So you can have your own picture with a QR code on it that you can show to somebody. They just basically turn on their camera and scan it, and instantly, with no typing, no scanning, no typos, no fuss, your contact info goes right into their phone.
Wow, that's so brilliant.
And then you can actually use that app. If you both have Connect Quick, you get many more benefits. For example, if you were to update your contact information, your email, your phone, will automatically update it for me if we've already connected.
Wow, that's so brilliant.
So I don't have to worry about, hey, where's Toby? Does he move? What's his new contact info? If you've updated it, then I have it.
And can people also interact through the app? Like, are there like ways of engaging interactions also?
That's one of the things we're thinking about doing if people really want that. I mean, I think some people may want to go. That's one of the things we thought about heading that way. Yeah. But right now, it's just about connecting it at a deeper level. And the other thing, if you think about it, one business card isn't enough anymore. I mean, I think you wear multiple hats, Toby, right?
That's true.
I mean, right? So with this app, you can actually have 3 different profiles. You can do personal, business, and custom profile. And each one can have their own picture, even video, with your profile. So you can decide which part of you want to share with which audience at different times.
Yes. And, in this day and time when people are, very concerned about their privacy and about, their data, what we tell listeners out there who are, very concerned about, putting their data on a platform somewhere they are not yet aware of?
Well, you control what you're sharing. I mean, if you don't want to fill out some of the fields, no problem. Don't do it. It's completely up to you. So you're going to, in fact, that's why the personal, business, and custom profiles are even better, because for business, you may just want to share certain things, and personal, different things with different people. So you're able to do that. Whereas in your current contact app, you don't have that flexibility.
That's true. That's convincing. Yeah.
But you control exactly what you're doing with the contact information.
Yeah. So just for you to convince me a little bit, like, can you tell me the importance of, constant or instant connections and, meaningful conversations?
Well, so part of the app is also, it has a feature called Wanderlust. So you can put on there the places you've traveled to, where you'd like to go to, and what's on your bucket list, right?
Yeah. And
so think about, like, when you want to exchange contact info, and I say, oh, Toby, wow, you've been to Nigeria, you've been to Egypt, or you've been to, whatever. Yes. And, maybe that might lead to a conversation. Say, hey, I was thinking about going there, or I've been there. Hey, what, it's those kind of things that I think as humans, we're always looking for ways to connect, right?
Yes.
So if you decide you want to share that information, then it's an opportunity for, you guys to really then connect and at a deeper level.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds interesting. I'm going to place the link to your website, this connectquick.com, also in the show notes of this episode. So I encourage everyone to download the app, try it out, and just have fun with it. Make it easier, to gather business cards, and let's go of the papers, and make everything digital already. Yes. And that gives one an insight into other people's life or businesses also. Like you gain that insight about their lives, and you don't, or their business, and you don't lose that information because it stays stored on your phone. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
And that's, again, I'm just a real believer in conversations. I think conversations can lead to better understanding, better insights, and it just I think it can make the world a little bit better. And unfortunately, I think with our digital environment, people are actually talking less now. And I think if you can find ways to increase the conversations, it's just, at the end of the day, no matter how much, digital improves our lives, we still live in a connected world with humans.
Yeah.
And humans like connecting with each other in a physical world.
True. That's very true. Yes. But I'd love to learn from your experience, from your success so far in the business world and marketing world. As you said earlier, the like conversations are very, very important. Yeah. But, one thing or one fear that we have is, having the wrong conversation or having the wrong approach when having conversations with people. So from your experience, can you educate me or educate us on the proper way to behave or to converse with other people? Like, what are the do's and don'ts when having formal conversations or, conversations with people generally?
Probably the number one thing is really listen, right? I mean, really listen to what people are saying. And sometimes, people have a hard time articulating exactly what they are thinking and feeling.
True.
So if you listen carefully, then you can say, give me an example or explain that to me so you have a better understanding of that. And then often when they have to think of an example or better understanding, they might even say, let me change that. Actually, what I really mean is this. So I think a part of a good conversation is not just the talking. It's actually being genuinely curious and being able to listen carefully, right?
Yes.
And then just like going to a nice cocktail party, right? If you go to a nice cocktail party and you meet some people and you start talking, and it's like, oh my God, this is really interesting. And you all start getting deeper and deeper into the topic. Next thing you know, an hour's gone by and you say, oh my God, that was like one of the best conversations because everybody gets something out of it, right?
Yes.
And that's what you should strive to do.
Yeah.
Not just be the expert or, try to say, this or this, but really try to listen. And every once in a while, obviously give your opinion. And of course, it's okay to disagree, as long as you do it respectfully, but sometimes you can learn from that. I often tell people, I have no problem if you tell me I'm wrong, just tell me why, because more important part is why, not that I'm wrong. I just want to understand the why behind it, because then that might really make me see something that I never saw from a different perspective.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Like being curious and being open-minded to learn from other people. Yes.
Right.
That leads to a great conversation. Wow. And talking about insight, we've not gone too far from insight. Like you are the insight expert, I'll call you already. you have this platform called iresearch.com, which is a platform that allows users to quickly extract insights from customers, throughout the world. So can you tell me about this platform and how does it work to, get insight from customers from everywhere?
Sure. Yeah. So when you basically do research, there's two ways. You can do surveys or focus groups. And focus groups are really basically having discussions with a small amount of people, but you're looking to do a deep dive conversation. And for years, focus groups have been really not affordable because it's really been expensive to do. And so with my platform, it makes it much, much more affordable and easier to do on a scale, on a global level. You can do it anytime, anywhere, in any language. So for example, if you wanted to do, you're sitting in Germany, if you wanted to do, a group in Nigeria with the local language, you could, no problem, and so it gives you a lot of flexibility. And I think with the cost coming down and making it easier and faster, I think people can do research more properly. What I mean by that, your surveys will be much better if you actually do some focus groups first.
Yes.
Because you'll end up with better questions and better answer choices.
That's true.
For example, if you and I were to do, let's say, something about women's clothing, right? I mean, you and I are two guys.
Yeah.
We could maybe make some guesses and come up with a survey.
Yeah.
But our survey would be so much better if we actually talked to a target market of women. True. And find out what they think and feel. And then we'll be much more focused with our survey questions and our answer choices. And I think the combination of those two that way makes it much more, valuable, helpful. And I think you're more likely to not only uncover insights, but then you can quantify them properly with a survey.
With survey too. So how can people, make use of this platform, iresearch.com, to get insight from their consumers or from their customers?
So you basically structure conversations where people will come into a session and you would moderate them, you would ask them questions and they'd respond. It is chat-based, and I've tried the video and everything. I'll be honest with you. I found two things that happen with the chat-based. One, people tend to think a little bit extra because they have to put their thoughts in writing. Yes. So you get a lot of comments. And the other is when you have 10, 12, 15 people, if you ask a question to everybody and they all answer at the same time, they can't speak at the same time with audio or video. Yeah. But chat-based, everyone can respond. So you end up with much longer transcript with the text-based than you do with video or audio. And so you actually get more information from more people. And as you know, there's some people that are very quick to answer, and others will take a little bit more time to articulate. But this way, you get to hear from everybody. And it's just, and we're also going to be offering on our website not only the platform to do the focus group, but also tools to help them do it better. So we're going to educate them. They're going to range from free to paid, scenarios. But we actually want to help people to do better focus groups. So we're going to be training them on how to do it as well.
And this way, one could, make manifold surveys that could help one to get like some information that one needs to, improve one's product or to, promote one's growth in business.
Right. Yeah, we have techniques like the questions you're asking, like how do you have a good conversation? How do you do this? Or we kind of walk you through that. And there's different stages. So because we want you to learn how to do it properly as well.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. So are there like some other, marketing and insight strategies that you could share with me? Like I know, for example, now extracting insights could be very important, but are there like some other ways that one could promote one's business through marketing and insight strategies?
Well, just recognize there's never a shortage of innovations. I mean, I'll give you an example, right? Yes. Gillette for years controls 72% of the market for shaving, right? Yes. And their innovation was a new blade, right? It went from 2 blades to 3 blades to 4 blades and then 5. And then it had a little vibrator on it and a light. So, those were the innovations. But they neglected one key thing, was the buying experience. Right? As these shavers became more and more expensive, when you went to the store, you had to go to the clerk, have the clerk go open the cabinet with a lock, and then give it to you, then you can buy it. Yeah. And so up comes a startup, and they changed the experience by saying, you don't need to do that. We can just mail it to you. You're going to be shaving, you're going to need a razor. So we'll just set you on a subscription plan. And it changed the marketplace. Right. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, don't feel a lot of times that, oh my God, my competitor's doing this or that. Saying that's no problem. I need to go out and have more conversations and find out ways how I can make a difference. And there's so many ways to do it, right? You can change your product, you can change your packaging, you can change the way you distribute, promote it, your pricing. I mean, there's so many ways you can do this, right?
Yes, that's true.
So the thing is be genuinely curious, pursue it in a structured manner, and you will get insights that are going to help you.
Yeah. Yes. I think you've already answered the question I had in mind already. Like I wanted to know, as I said earlier, that, this world is constantly changing, like, things are improving or things are evolving. And we have, this, I won't say ancient companies, but, already existing companies who have a legacy already, and they also have to change. So I wanted to know how successful businesses, adapt to this constantly changing world and marketing strategies that are in place.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of people are trying to do now. They're trying to be more agile, right? They need to be able to shift on a dime or, very quickly. Yeah. But, the question is, how do you know which way to shift, right?
True, yes.
I mean, basically there's 2 ways, right? Yeah. You can guess, and maybe you'll guess well, or you can actually talk to some people and make that shift and make sure that when you do that shift, you do it in a manner that you're more likely to be successful than not.
True. So one has to know the right direction to go. Like you have to use your intuition, I guess. So.
And that's where you do the exploratory research. That you have the conversation. Like you might say, I have a better way to do a whole new phone, right? But go out, talk to people, see if they're willing to actually, if they see the same pain you see or the same problem. Yeah. And then also more importantly, are they willing to pay for a solution?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And that's why we need iresearch.com actually. So of course, so that we can.
Well, iResearch can certainly help, but more than anything, you need conversations, right?
Yeah.
And you need to be genuinely curious to pursue those.
But that means you mean having like these real personal conversations with our consumers, like going out there and speaking with them and trying to create that relationship with them and that bonding with them.
In fact, I mean, Airbnb, when they first started out, right, they actually weren't getting quite the sales and the response they thought they were going to get. But they did find that in New York, they were doing well in New York versus any other city. But they weren't quite, they'd kind of hit kind of a plateau. And so they were told, go talk to your customers. So they did. They actually went and sat in the kitchen of customers and talked to them. And they quickly realized that these people didn't know how to take good pictures of their property.
Yeah.
So they started taking better pictures, and within a week, the sales doubled.
Wow. Just from talking, just from having conversations.
Exactly. And they just realized that this is one of the biggest things, is that, these people were renting their place, but they weren't necessarily photographers or marketers. They didn't really know how to take good pictures.
Yes, they don't know the right angle and the right lighting for the pictures.
Right.
Yes. Wow. Now I have a deeper understanding on that. Like, having conversations opens your eyes to what is hidden from you, and opens your eyes to what you're meant to do actually, or the loopholes that you could not find before.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep it even more simple, right?
Yes.
You can sit in a meeting room around a desk and talk about all these things, like, I think this, I think that, or you can actually go out and talk to people.
Yes. Yeah.
Where do you think the decisions are really made?
Out there with the people. Yes. Yes, that as simple as that. Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Go to the market and find out how it works in the market. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So I would still love to learn more from your experience so far. Like, you have over 25 years of experience in marketing. So
you make me sound so old every time you say that.
I'm so sorry. But for me, it's so impressive, because I'm like, oh, this is a well of wisdom, and I have to, fetch a lot as much as possible from it. Sorry. So can you enlighten me on how you have been succeeding, or how you've become successful as an entrepreneur and as a leader? Like, you're the founder of iResearch.com, Quick Connect, and you're out of a book, an entrepreneur on your own. Like, how have you been able to succeed in all of these areas?
Well, I'm generally curious, and I like doing different things. And one of the things I also like doing is teaching. Mm-hmm. And so I just find that you often learn more if you actually teach, right? I think you get a more 360. So I just like trying different things, and I try to apply all the insights that I've tried to help with my clients, and try to apply them as well. I mean, everything I've done hasn't always been, perfect, or I've had to learn. I've had mistakes. I've tripped and fallen, and, bruised my nose a few times, and, gotten up, and, that's just part of the learning. And I think that's the other thing you learn, is that there's really no failure as long as you learn.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the failure is when you keep doing the same thing and you're not learning. That's real failure.
Yes, that's true. Yes. And what are like the biggest lessons you've learned so far? Like, if you could share some with me.
Yeah, I still, and this is an ongoing battle, and it's really try to simplify things. Try to get to the bare essence of what's really going on, because we can overcomplicate our lives very quickly and very easily. And there's lots of noise out there all the time, distracting us. So, whatever you can do, strive for simplicity. Because that's where you want to get to the core of things, get to the root, the deep, or, trigger, the deeper things that are really making things happen. And that's where I think, you'll find opportunities, but also a little bit of peace in knowing that, okay, now I get it. This is what's really driving this.
And what piece of advice would you give someone out there who is striving to become an entrepreneur like you, or a leader also like you? Like, apart from us, being simple with our methods and approach and getting to the root of everything, I'd like some other, advice that you could share with us.
I would say, if you can work on 3 skills, because I can't teach it, and for some people it comes from within, and others maybe can, learn to acquire these skills. And those 3 skills are: think, really pursue critical thinking, right? Sometimes you may not have the right solution, but it's the thinking that keep, like, no matter what, I'm going to solve this. That kind of critical thinking to solve problems. So think. 2, just do things. There's always many opportunities where you can think of 20 reasons not to do something, but you just need 1 reason to do it. And the other is, be hungry. I can't teach hunger, but if you're hungry, you're going to create your own luck. This is what's going to happen. And being hungry means it's okay if you trip and fall or fail, but still be hungry to keep learning and moving forward.
We have that hunger to learn more, to become better.
And that's going to be the difference between not just becoming an entrepreneur, but becoming a successful entrepreneur.
Yes.
Because, as you know, it's not easy.
No, it's not. No.
And I mean, and that's the challenge in life, right? I mean, nothing worthwhile is easy.
Mm, that's true. That's
If
very
it
true.
was, everybody'd be doing
Yeah, yeah, you're very right. You're very correct. Yeah.
it.
So if I understood everything properly, like critical thinking helps us to realize a problem somewhere and gives us a way or insight on how to solve that problem for the world. Is that correct?
If you think about it, there's always more than one way to solve a problem.
Mm,
There's not only one solution all the time.
true.
So, I think you just have to learn to be creative, be innovative, and find ways to solve problems.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
and there's always a way to do something a little bit different, a little bit better, a little bit easier, a little bit faster, maybe a little bit less costly.
Yes.
You know, so strive to solve problems,
That's true.
and you're likely to be successful.
Yeah. Well, no, in this world or in this generation right now, we believe, oh, it's so saturated already with so many solutions. Like the marketing world is filled up with different perspectives, different areas, different tricks. And now a novice, is coming and I'm critically thinking, I'm looking for a way, and I'm seeing that this idea that I had 2 days ago, it's already implemented like 5 years ago. This one I had, I'm just having right now, has been done already like yesterday.
But that doesn't matter because there's always ways to do better. I mean, going back to the iPod,
Mm,
it was not the first MP3 player.
true.
I mean, it just wasn't.
True.
I mean, there have been other players out there for years.
Yeah.
It was just better,
Mm,
right? I mean, Dollar Shave Club wasn't the first ones to do razors. I mean, if somebody came to you and say, "Hey, look, I want to introduce razors and I'm going to ship them by mail, and I want to compete with Gillette, who has 72% of the market," what are you going to tell me?
I'll say you're joking, right?
But it can be done, right?
Yes, that's true.
And the way it was done was the founder invested, I think, like $4,500 in a video that was funny, interesting, engaging, and it hit the emotion, and it just took off. And that first day from that video, they got like 12 or 13,000 orders.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So, it's not that you just have to be the first. There's always ways to make things better.
Mm. Yes. You just have to.
But I think the key is you need to be solving a problem, not just saying I have an idea and doing that. You need to be solving a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, one of the things I talk about in the book, if you really think about what's I think also happening in business, is with this I think it's happening in life and in business, is blending. I mean, more and more people that I teach, a lot of the students, they come from two parents that came from two different nationalities. I mean, and so it's also happening in business. I mean, who would have? It seems like a natural fit now, but Taco Bell, they combine Doritos and tacos in the shell. It's like, oh my God, I mean, it's like perfect, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, there's ways to innovate by blending or doing things as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And as you said earlier, we have to like solve people's problem. We have to help them save time, help them save money, and also the 10x with going to be emotion. Yes, creating an emotion with it.
Yeah, and if you can hit an emotion, then I think you're likely to be even more successful. Yeah. But look, there's plenty of problems out there to solve.
True.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just a matter of really kind of putting on your thinking hat and getting deeper. And if you can solve it a little bit better than someone else's, your chances of being successful are pretty good.
Yeah. Wow. You see, from everything I've learned from you today, I now realize the reason why you are featured on in Forbes Magazine as one of the 9 CMOs to watch. Like I'm all of these tips and advice are like very deep and very simple also, but once one applies them, they are very effective. I can believe that. Yeah. That's great. So
well, thanks. Yeah.
For people out there who would like to connect with you, or maybe work with you, or even get more advice from you, like any question that we could not ask or talk about in this conversation.
Sure. They can come to iResearch.com, or they can just send me an email directly at dm@iresearch.com. So that's fine too.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm going to place all of this information in the show notes of this episode. Is there anything you would love to talk about that we not covered during this conversation? Any advice?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. It's great talking to you, and I appreciate the insightful conversation. And you got good things out of me.
I'm so glad I did that. Yeah. Thank you so much for everything you shared with me. I learned a lot from this episode, I must say, and I'm going to implement them and also become very successful in my marketing and insight strategies also.
Oh, sounds great.